This is a brief tutorial on how to use the clinical trial search on nbcbrainmets.org. We're here on the home page, and to navigate to find a trial, you go to Explore, Find a Clinical Trial, and you can scroll down until you see these graphics here. You can do one of two things. You can either register or log in if you've already registered, and this will save all of your information so you don't have to answer questions each time. Right now, we're going to just use this as a guest so you can see how it works. So you're going to have a series of questions which will help narrow down the search for the trial. So I'm just going to check a few here, ER/PR and HER2 positive. And I'm going to hit next. We're going to answer no for that. And this is the really important question. So where do you currently have evidence of disease? If you have brain metastasis, you'll want to check this and then answer this question as to whether you have active or stable brain mets. That will change what kind of trials we generate. So we're going to click active, and then you can also click leptomeninges if you have leptomeningeal disease. You can continue to answer these questions, or you can just go ahead and skip to the trials. It'll save the information that you already put in. And what's going to happen is you're going to see a full list of trials for which you may qualify. So up here, you can see profile. We've basically checked triple positive and disease in the leptomeninges and the brain. So it'll pull back trials for both. And you can see there's 61 trials here. You can make sure you put in the correct zip code. And if you want to narrow your search a little bit, we could say we want to be within 250 miles. Let's say we only want trials that actually have treatment. We're okay with phase 1, 2, or 3. We're going to apply choices, and this should narrow our search a little bit because we narrowed the radius. And so what'll happen is now we have 4 trials, and you can see these trials are listed here, and these are very patient friendly, telling you the purpose, what this trial is for. And if you hit see more, you'll see what's involved, what's being studied, and how can I learn more. It also will show you the phase, the NCTID number, how close it is to your zip code, and things like that. So here you can see all 4 of the trials that were pulled back based on the criteria that we used. There are a few other capabilities that this search engine has. One is that we can actually filter by mutation. So let's try to put in maybe PIK3. I'm not sure if this is going to pull anything back. It might filter it down to 0, but you can search by mutation if you like, and then but didn't pull back anything. So let's clear that criteria, and let's filter by trial type. This is another really interesting feature. So here you can see all the different treatments that are available. So let's choose this vaccines and immunotherapy. Again, we hit apply choices, and we will see all the trials that are within 250 miles of this zip code. And we still have this criteria here of triple positive, brain and lepto. And we check that we want to see vaccines and immunotherapy. This pulled back 1 trial. So there are definitely ways to narrow your search if that's what you're interested in. But let's go back to the home page, and we're going to start over and find a clinical trial. Scroll down here. So let's use as a guest. And I'm not gonna put in any information. I'm gonna just skip straight to the trials. And this is gonna show all the trials that breastcancertrials.org has curated for patients. So it has, let's see, 376 trials. So I wanna go back to this other capability that we have here, which is filtering by trial type. So one of the things we can do is we can actually look at trials that require brain metastasis. So this means if you don't have brain metastasis, you will not be able to be on that trial. So we will check that, and let's also check leptomeningeal metastasis required. So if you don't have brain mets, this would not apply to you. This really only applies to patients that are living with brain metastasis or leptomeningeal disease. So I'm going to apply my choices here. And we haven't filtered by any up here, you know, there's no profile, we haven't put in any information about whether we're HER2 or ER or PR positive, but it's still nice sometimes to see all the trials that are available. So we've got 38 trials, and you can definitely scroll through and see which ones might be of interest to you. One more thing I wanted to show is these links down here. So we've got trials coming soon to MTS. That stands for Metastatic Trial Search. So these are trials that are currently recruiting, and the MTS folks are working really hard to curate and make that nice patient-friendly summary that you saw on the previous page. So they haven't quite done that yet, and usually they said it'll take about 2 weeks to do that, but here you can look and see trials that are recruiting and are definitely available, some of which may even be available for patients with brain metastasis. Specifically, this trial with tucatinib certainly allows for stable brain metastasis. So if you were to check back in a few weeks, there will be a summary just like you see here on that particular trial. And if you have checked that you have brain metastasis, you will have that show up in your list. So if you continue to scroll down, these are additional brain mets trials. So what we have are actually international trials here that I will show. And we separated these by region. Now, this link will just take you straight to the clinicaltrials.gov site. So they're not curated with that patient-friendly summary, but it's still providing you, you know, a link to the trials that are available in these regions. So we have Asia, Australia is not listed here because there probably are no trials, but if there were, we would definitely list that there. Europe, Middle East, North America, and then another region of South America as well. So these are international trials. And then these are trials that are both, it combines US and international that aren't currently recruiting. So again, they're listed like this and they're not curated with that patient-friendly summary. But if you click here, it'll take you to the link of clinicaltrials.gov. And as you can see, this trial is not yet recruiting. So these might be of interest if you know, you're trying to see what trials might be coming down the pike. But again, it's a little bit tricky because because you don't get that nice patient-friendly summary, but at least you still have this list.